Alright, welcome back to Questing Beast. Today we're going to look at another one of my RPG books, and this is the Perilous Wilds, which is a supplement for Dungeon World. If you've ever played Dungeon World, it's a minimalistic, faster version of D&D, more story game elements. It's very enjoyable, one of the better RPGs that I've played. And this book is a Kickstarter project that expands on Dungeon World's exploration and travel mechanics, essentially. In Dungeon World does it in a very minimalistic kind of way. You just roll a couple dice and then you get there and maybe something happens. This really goes into way more detail. It makes it much more like a hex crawl. It's not necessarily a hex crawl, but it's an overland, point by point travel, where crazy stuff can happen to you every step of the way. And you have to be very careful with how you guard your resources, where you want to go, what risks you're going to take, and so on. So if you're like that style of gameplay, this is a must-have. It's really excellent. The design of the book is great. It's a small paperback. I have the physical copy because I kickstarted it, but I believe the digital copies are available online, and I'll put a link to those where you can get them. Beautiful layout, beautiful typography, extremely easy to read, very well organized. The artwork is absolutely excellent. The book is written by Jason Lutz and illustrated by Kenny Widyaha? Not entirely sure. Sorry if I mispronounced your name, Kenny. Let's look at some examples here. So it gives you ideas of how to set up environments. Details, you can have different areas and different possible encounters that are going to be in them, different dangers that you can encounter. You can create an almanac that generally lays out what a region is going to be like and the kind of things that are there. It's a great system for that. Gives you great ideas on how to draw a map in a collaborative fashion or to discover one as you go. Great ideas for naming things. Mostly by stealing from real-world languages and altering the words a little bit. Plenty of really excellent random tables. So creating a random region, for example. So, for example, adjective terrain, terrain of the noun, terrain adjective. So, for example, let's pick one of these. Noun terrain. Pick a random noun, honor, and a random terrain, sea, the honor sea. Or other stuff like adjective terrain, random adjective, burning, random terrain, teeth, the burning teeth. Sounds like a mountain range. You can roll stuff on this and create all sorts of great things. Or even, what's a good one? Nouns adjective terrain. So, sorrows, misty, groves. Again, that could be, it's very evocative. Sorrows, misty groves. It's like a, I don't know, a burial site full of willows, full of evil trees. Could be anything. Same sort of thing. Create random places. Adventures, alternative rules for followers. So Dungeon World has followers, but the rules for how to use them are pretty minimalistic. This really expands on it and makes them a bit more useful, gives you a bit more control. See the world. So this is the main rules for traveling from place to place. It adds a whole bunch of new moves that make traveling more detailed. Journey, undertake perilous journey. So it makes a difference if whether you're traveling on a safe route or a dangerous route. Foraging, making camp. Things can approach you in the night, so you have to stay sharp. You have to roll to navigate, manage provisions, and scout ahead. Similar to Dungeon World, but there's more detailed consequences. Gives lots of great advice on just how to add points of interest and color to make the world feel more real. How to get lost. How to hunker down, forage ahead. Some extra compendium classes that you can unlock. Delver, Explorer, Hunter, Leader, Scout. And then here we start having some of the random table sections that do some really great stuff. Random Monster Maker. Random treasure finder, similar to Dungeon World. Discoveries. So you can roll a d12 to get an unnatural feature, natural feature, evidence, a creature, or a structure. So a lot of moves will call for you to make a discovery you can roll on this table. Say you get a structure. Then you can roll on this table to see if it's I rolled a 5, it's a burial or a religious structure. Roll again, it's a shrine, or it's a great temple. So you get tons of variety within these tables. And if it's a creature, you just move to another table and roll on that. How to create random towns and steadings. Lots of detail. So here's some dangers that you can roll. Unnatural entities, hazards, or creatures. Again, creatures would just go over to the next page. The creature page is very detailed, and there was a whole separate book also put out by Jason Lutz where he gives examples of lots of different creatures that you can generate using this system. I'll make a review of that a little bit later. Details that you can add to things. So you can use this for anything, but you can also use it for creatures. If you want the creature to be sleeping, dying, fighting, or what condition things are in, what disposition it has. All of these tables, I know some people who don't really like random tables, but a good random table shakes up your game. It adds elements that you hadn't thought of before, and it reduces prep time, which is really big, especially in games like Dungeon World. The world just comes to life on its own without you having to stress out about it. How to create random NPCs. And we even have special rules for running dungeons that makes it a little bit more procedural. And of course, we have new dungeon moves. Randomized dungeons. Lots of detail. So you create a random dungeon size. So this one is roll of 4. It's a medium-sized dungeon. It has 3 themes. So roll some random themes. It has a theme of savage fury, creation, and mutation. So maybe it's a sanctum of barbarians, and they're creating mutant monsters to take over the world. Who knows? Reason why the dungeon was ruined. Lots of different options. And who built the dungeon originally? What was its function? Random dungeon discoveries, things that you find in the dungeon. Random dangers that you find. Traps, creatures, entities. You can just roll on the creature table to make random creatures, or you can make them ahead of time. All in all, a fantastic adventure. Lots of random names you can get here too, which is really great, because names are always important. I consider to be basically essential for people who love Dungeon World. It adds so much to the game that the game really kind of skipped over, really glossed over. It makes that visceral and real and useful and easy to run. And that's a sign of a great book. So, Perilous Wilds, strongly recommend. Pick it up online. I think it's just in PDF right now. I'll put links in the description. Let me know if you know of any other great Dungeon World supplements that I should check out. I'd love to hear about them. If you enjoyed this video, please like and subscribe, and I'll see you later. Thanks for watching.